My husband admitted to me that he has been cheating on me with his cousin for the majority of our marriage. And my stepdad publicly humiliated my mom and I don't know how to move on. Hey everyone, I'm Lina, and welcome to Cute Girls Read Reddit. Leave a comment on your thoughts on this relationship and subscribe for daily Reddit stories. My 40-year-old female husband, 39 male, admitted to me that he has been cheating on me with his cousin for the majority of our marriage. My husband's cousin recently was killed in a car accident 3 weeks ago. This has made my husband visibly depressed and a lot less like himself lately. Tonight, when I got home from work, he had our 2 kids go spend the night at his mother's place and had made us dinner. After dinner, he sat me down and told me that I needed to prepare myself for what he was going to say. He then proceeded to tell me about his affair. To sum some things up, he essentially had been doing sexual things with his cousin since she seduced him when she was 13 and he was 16. These sexual activities went on through their adulthood up until he started to date me. After we got married, things didn't happen between him or his cousin until around 4 years into our marriage when she supposedly convinced him to continue their sexual activities on the side. We've been married for a little over 15 years for context. This has continued up until 3 weeks ago, as you can imagine. He told me to take it as I will, and he'll accept anything I choose to do considering our marriage. His cousin apparently was a lot more than just some sex fling. I've never would have expected my husband to be cheating. He never did anything that would give it red flags, like coming in late or leaving hair of another woman around. I am at a standstill and not sure where to go from here. I haven't been able to say anything to him after he was so blunt about it. I'm still crying some now. I don't know where to go from where. Any suggestions are welcome. Now let's read the top comments. Your husband is a major a-hole. Not only for cheating, but also for not keeping his mouth shut after. The affair would have never been found out. His coming clean is not about you, but about him. It's not about saving or repairing your marriage, because your marriage would have never been in trouble without his confession. This is your selfish husband, wanting to get consolidation after losing his second wife. In all honesty, get a divorce from that a-hole. I don't think this marriage can be saved. There are a lot of years of deception with the family member. My advice? Tell him to leave immediately. Plan a co-parenting schedule. Divorce, get the house for you and your children. Don't let him take any more than he has already took from you, years of your life. Don't let him play the victim card. Let him wallow in his shame. He has been struck with the biggest lesson of life, karma. He dug his grave, let him dig his way out. With the time and being away from him, you'll heal and move on. Don't let him slither his way back. Remember, this isn't a small indiscretion, it's a decade of deception. 13-year-olds don't seduce people. That's an 8th grader. He was a junior in high school and she was an 8th grader. And that doesn't even touch on the fact that he has been cheating on you for over a decade. Your relationship is not the relationship you thought you had. If you can, get some sort of proof of what he told you, via text or recorded conversation. Check laws in your state. In my state, only one person needs to consent. And leave him with your kids in tow. Evidence of this may be helpful in the case of divorce or custody, but I'm not an expert by any means. My 22 female, stepdad, 49 male, publicly humiliated my mom and I don't know how to move on. The other day, I went to sober cab my mom and her husband at the bar. Everything was fine when I got there. In fact, he and I were joking around and laughing with each other. Then, over conversations about my weekend, my mom divulged some information that she heard regarding a situation I was in with my stepbrother, and not the way you're thinking, pervs. It was a brief conversation and I texted my stepbrother to update him on the situation. Then, out of nowhere, my stepdad exploded in the restaurant with customers all around us. He yelled, "Jesus Christ, you guys are like Kardashians with all this damn drama. It's ridiculous." Keep in mind, my mom and I had a 2-minute discussion that wasn't even deep whatsoever. He continued to scream at my mom and I, taking digs at my biological brother in an attempt to offend my mom. He continued screaming at us as we sat silently. My mom tried to tell him to lower his voice because the restaurant had fallen silent at that point and everyone was staring at us. He then screamed, "I don't give a damn what anyone thinks. I don't give a damn. You guys are stupid. This is ridiculous." He repeated that loudly a couple of times and I still sat silent. Minutes have gone by at this point of him yelling. Over the course of the last couple years, his anger has been growing and growing, and he often snaps and lashes out, resorting to name-calling frequently but usually about politics. It has now spread to all sectors of his conversations when something manages to set him off. So I finally turned to my mom and asked her if she wanted to leave, because I was humiliated and I couldn't stand sitting to him for any longer. My mom refused. She is used to this behavior. He acts like this towards her 24/7 now. But this time I noticed it spread to me as well. So I asked her again and said please. She refused. He heard me ask and then screamed even louder. "If you want to leave, get the hell out. Leave. No one is keeping you here." And I looked at him in the eyes and said, "I'm trying to." I couldn't leave my mom there, and to be honest, I felt terrible for her because he's been treating her horribly. Keep in mind, at this point, it is uncomfortably silent in the room. Our server is awkwardly behind the bar pretending to be busy, and the couple seated alongside us keep looking up in concern. I've never been so humiliated in my life. I feel utterly disrespected, and like I will never see him the same again. My heart aches for my mom because he eventually shoved his plate away loudly and bolted out the door, leaving us at the restaurant. I told her that what he did was abusive and she was extremely dismissive. My biological father was verbally abusive to my mom, and I think she struggles with understanding that it's not normal. In the car, she even expressed to me that she was worried he wouldn't want to be with her anymore, after he continually disrespects and yells at her from time to time. She's worried that he doesn't find her attractive anymore. That broke me. But she continued to tell me that what he did wasn't out of the blue and could have been worse. I started to doubt how horrible the experience was myself, and can see how she is gaslighted into believing that was an appropriate response. So at this point, I have no idea how to proceed. He has expressed no remorse, and thinks his response was justified. He was buzzed at the time, so perhaps his memory of the events isn't perfect. I just feel like I can't forgive this for a multitude of reasons. He has gotten increasingly angry in his consistent outbursts, and I genuinely fear something is mentally wrong with him. I like to see my mom, and she doesn't do anything without him, so ignoring him is out of the question. How do I proceed with some kind of normalcy after this, knowing I won't receive an apology or change of behavior? Long story short, my stepdad screamed at me in a restaurant for a prolonged period of time and publicly humiliated my mother and I. How do I move on, knowing he won't change? Let's hear what the top comments have to say. I had similar issues with my mom and previous boyfriends. After years of siding with guys who were emotionally abusive to both her and me, I eventually told her she had to choose. Either break up with the guy or I would estrange myself from her. She broke up with him and things got better after that. Not saying you should do something so extreme, but continuing to accept this guy's behavior will not improve the situation. Your mother is a fully grown adult and you can't help her if she doesn't want to be helped. All you can really do is say you'll be there for her when she decides to leave, and you'll only see her without him from now on. If she brings him anyway, you just leave. Has he always been like that? If it's new, he was either hiding it well or he has some sort of physical issue like a brain tumor or chemical imbalance. Does your mom or stepdad have a primary doctor? If you're in the US, you're allowed to call them privately and voice concerns about either. The doctor can listen but can't ask questions. Privately, start writing down the incidents of your stepdad. Keep it factual. Date and time approximately. Stepdad said X. Length. The entire restaurant fell silent. His tone made me flinch because he sounded angry. Don't let him know you have these records. These outbursts can be a symptom of a brain tumor, brain injury, depression, and other things. For your mom, she won't leave him. The best thing is for you to leave, and then you can help her leave if and when she's ready. What would your advice be? Leave a comment down below and let us know what you think.